Hey everyone, Ronan back. We're going to be doing some Ghost in the Shell today. We're on episode 5 on season 2. We had a really cool episode last time. Got to meet some new characters and I think expand upon the kind of like the main arc. Really just getting to know people, just knowing that they exist and kind of what their general vibe is, and Goda with the whole Two-Face thing going on. Not just in one way. Actually, that's interesting now that I bring that up. He like kind of has like a I mean, he really is kind of like Two-Face in a way. Like he's definitely, but he makes it very obvious though. Not that Two-Face doesn't, but like it's just like you can just tell like when he's lying to you, but at the same time you don't really know what he's hiding, what he knows, things like that. So he's definitely very smart, and yeah, so he's definitely an interesting character to bring into the mix. And you know, for now he's not really going up against Section 9, but he's at least on their radar, you know. So and they suspect something is going on, but there's really, you know, very little information on what that is. So we don't really know like what, you know, the grand scheme of is, if it is. I mean, we're only on episode 4, so I'm sure with in due time we'll be able to figure things out. So but yeah, guys, if you haven't yet, please like, comment, subscribe. I appreciate all that stuff, and thank you to all my patrons for jumping on Patreon. I definitely appreciate all your support. We are 3 weeks ahead of YouTube, so if you want to get ahead, feel free to jump on that. Otherwise, we'll go ahead and dive on into this. I definitely like the architecture of the city in general. It's definitely something I want to do, is visit more Asian cities, because their architecture and just the way everything looks fantastic, especially in like Korea.
This is the first inspection the Prime Minister has made of the area since the repeal of the Refugee Special Action Policy was announced. However, due to the current,
even though this is kind of like supposed to be like a slum, there's still something about it that's kind of like charming,
because it relies on radical legal reforms not yet in place. These reforms could prevent refugees who are faced
obviously
with
the situation
jobs
isn't
from
like the
finding
best. Oh man, they don't like her. Oh, it's that symbol again. I like this music too. It's very ominous, dark.
A threatening letter hinting that there'll be an attempt on the Prime Minister's life, So, what's this mean?
We have no idea. We've already found 7 instances of an identical logo being used in the claims of responsibility.
Do you know if any of these 9 events have anything in common?
Nothing we've been able to find so far.
Okay, 9 events. 9 events with the same symbol.
Only a handful of people outside this room know about that logo, even within the police department. It's never been mentioned in our press releases.
It's so fascinating that just the idea that people can get together and organize and promote terror in some way, and like incite terror.
The Prime Minister has made it very clear that she doesn't want a word of this death threat breathed to the media. That's where you and your Section 9 people come in.
You're asking for
Yeah,
my team
so
to provide personal protection for the Prime Minister?
yeah, we're gonna do bodyguard duty.
And remember, you have to keep the media in the dark, so refrain from doing anything that would draw unwanted notice.
But yeah, just the idea that all the crimes are not related, but they decided to put their symbol on it anyway. So they could have just like kept it as like all standalone crimes, but then decided, hey, no, we're going to announce that we are an organization.
You're telling us we're going to be babysitters.
We want you to
Prime
take this more
Minister.
seriously, kind of thing. So that idea in general is kind of fascinating to me.
The police may think that all these crimes were committed by the same organization, but at this point, I don't see how they could be. Nothing ties them together.
If it weren't for the fact that they had this logo in common, I'd have to agree with you. But considering that several claims of responsibility bearing this mark were sent to specific individuals, we've no choice but to operate on that assumption.
Another standalone complex.
the title of our show. I suppose realistically, though, if this really happened, you would still have to be skeptical about that symbol. It would be a pretty loose connection for everything to be connected.
Togusa, I want you to research the logo angles. You're going to be working with Ishikawa and Boma.
Roger.
You've seen it before, Tokusa. Back on that coffee table.
So, there's been no reaction to my death threat. I see that living up to your ideals has been a heavy burden for you.
All right, here we go.
Lip service for a brief time to the liberation of the refugees while at the same time doing nothing about it. I will spur you on by me.
I really like this voice actor. I don't know his name, though.
However, I must see to it that my secret rendezvous with her will be a special one.
Mainly because he plays Jean on Samurai Champloo.
Once an action is undertaken, withdrawing without completing one's objective cannot be tolerated.
That was pretty sick.
I am a man with a motive. The individual. 11.
Well, there you go. So that's the symbol for the individual 11 then. And we've had nine individual crimes. Gosh, you're gonna sit that close to your screen?
Well, well. Some unusual elements have sprung up. The Prime Minister's getting
I mean, it'd be pretty scary to really have someone working at that level just do things like that.
Who's dealing with their safety?
Public Security Section 9.
Ah, our old friends. If it looks like our fish is going to fall into Section 9's net, we'll step in and reel him in ourselves.
That's got to be freaky too, you know.
Major, you don't seem very gung-ho about this.
Really? It must be a hormonal thing.
It's already got to be scary enough to be a prime minister in general, and then to have someone threaten your life because, you know, they don't like the way you're running things, you know. Even if you have like good intentions, you know, obviously you're just one person. You can't solve everyone.
Vengeance, infinity, and samurai. It does sort of hint of an ideological background.
It might be from a trademark that represents a person or group that played a prominent role in history.
Now I follow you. It's the title of a collection of essays on revolutions written half a century ago. Collected preliminary essays on revolution by Patrick Sylvester.
They see his essay as a Bible for individualists, huh?
Hmm.
You know when we searched that dead pilot's apartment during the case with the runaway GSDA helicopters?
Mm-hmm.
I saw a note.
Yep, there you go. Remember that. Right, those guys in the black suits, they look like Goda's people, though. They left the thing there, so...
Dive deeper and turn up something that'll
so it seems like Goda is, like, planting evidence, too. He's kind of like...
insignificant it may seem.
Understood.
I don't know, he's like, kind of like a... Maybe he's kind of being like a puppet master or something, like, he's... There's already a situation brewing, but he's like also like manipulating it at the same time is what it feels like.
All over the meaning of the message from my newly awoken comrades.
Oh, he delivered a package.
Regarding the schedule I have for tomorrow?
There's no reason for you to be worried. We'll make every effort to be unobtrusive while we accompany you, Madam Prime Minister.
I thank you.
Yeah, it's got to be freaky to have like just a death threat in general, but...
Come in.
But if you're an important person like that and you get a death threat,
Chief,
it's got to be like a lot more substantial because then people have to be like more ballsy about how they're going to do it.
Perhaps it might be best if you didn't look at this.
Undue concern for women is what leads to contempt for them.
What was in there?
The central figures of the plot succeeded in assassinating the Prime Minister at the time. As a result, Japan plunged headlong into an era of dominance by militarists. But once the trial got underway, things began to take a strange turn. Based on a solid conviction in their beliefs, the defendants, who were barely in their 20s, started to make statements with tear-filled eyes. They declined any defense, saying that they were prepared to die. The judges, the soldiers on the prosecution, the press, and the people in the gallery all found themselves sympathizing with the young men.
Crazy.
Public opinion, which had been displaying ultra-nationalist tendencies, reached a fever pitch when a box full of 11 fingers, an amount clearly representing the number of defendants, were mysteriously delivered to the courthouse.
So that's what got delivered to the Prime Minister just now.
In all likelihood, these fingers were cut off of discarded prosthetic bodies. Togusa, 11 severed fingers were just delivered to the Prime Minister's home. Track down where they came from.
Did the Major just say 11 fingers?
Oh, shit.
Good, you arrived in time. Many of the people who have come to us to meditate have a great affection for that picture.
I'm glad to be of help.
They're just gonna let him walk right in, huh? That's pretty badass, having that ability to do that.
Who in their right mind would go off for some Zen meditation when somebody's trying to kill them? And with us not being allowed into the main temple, this ain't gonna be on my head.
And isn't that why she also agreed to the unofficial use of interceptors?
Look, I can admire her courage and all, but if she's only gonna let you link with the data...
Oh, they put an interceptor in her. That's smart, though, and that's cool that she trusts the Major and just the Major. You know, like, that's, to me, that's reasonable. She wouldn't want, like, everybody looking at what she can see. And she's the Prime Minister. Oh, shit. Oh, he's got cloaking, too.
On my side. Die!
Lit him the fuck up. No, he doesn't give a shit.
Give up. You're completely surrounded.
Oh. Jeez, how many times has he gotten shot? Holy shit. Let's go. This guy's a fucking badass, though. Holy shit. Okay, yeah. Jeez, he can jump far.
Don't worry, I'm all right.
That was badass. The fact that he, like, took on the Major.
Reinforced cyborg.
Begin a search for people with military ties.
There's a possibility that he simply had no intention of killing you.
I'm not sure what she means by that, because he looked pretty dedicated to that idea. Oh, that's it. Okay. Damn, that was badass. Man. That's the thing about Ghost in the Shell is, you know, when they turn up the action, you know, they really do go for it, and it's like, but like that there was so much information in that episode that was like really fascinating, especially that story with the May 15th event. I don't know if that's the actual title of said event, but like I don't even know what, like, I didn't catch like what year it even happened in, but yeah, essentially, yeah, that guy modeled his plan after that story, like almost down to the T, except he's just, you know, himself versus the 11 people that were involved in that assassination. And but it's interesting to also hear that people were sympathetic to them whenever they weeped and just said that they were ready for it. I don't see that happening in today's atmosphere. You know, just because, like, I think people are just so split on that sort of, you know, on that idea. You know, I can imagine people supporting the Prime Minister and then being against it, but then, like, I don't know, I just don't see people being as sympathetic, but I could be very wrong about that. But yeah, and then it's even freakier for, like, on the original story when 11 Fingers got delivered, because I would assume, because it looked like it was from a long time ago, but but I would assume that was before cyberization ever occurred, so those were probably real fingers versus the fake ones that we ended up getting. But yeah, I just wonder, like, where the Major was coming from with that when it comes to thinking that he may have not had any intention of killing her, because, I mean, he got pretty darn close to doing it. But then if he didn't mean to, maybe it was just the idea of just simply going through as far as he did with it, and that was just the general idea of it. You know, I'm not really sure what else it could have been, but yeah. And then Kayabuki, she makes some interesting decisions and I kind of understand her to a point where it's like, yes, her life got threatened, but she, you know, however she lives her life, she's you know, she's like, I'm gonna meditate on this and get over it. That may be her only way of getting over something like that, or coping with it. The idea that someone wants to end your life, and she goes kind of a more peaceful route of dealing with it, which kind of says something about her, which I can only think really in a positive way. So definitely, you know, she's not stupid. She definitely knows how to play, that there's a game that's played, and she knows how to play it. But I think she kind of comes also from a very compassionate point of view, at least so far. I don't know if she ever makes a decision later on that goes against that idea, but it just feels like she really does want to do better, and she wants to you know, improve the state of things. And it's just, she's just one person still, you know. So it's back where I said, you know, you get your life threatened because of the way you're running things, but it's like, you know, you're trying your best to move a mountain essentially. And yes, you have power, but if your government is run with any sort of diplomacy, there's a lot of people to keep your power in check. And if they disagree with you, especially if the majority disagrees with you, then you're probably not going to get anything done, you know. And you know, you may have sympathizers that see that you're trying to do what you say, what you said you were going to do. And then you got the other people that are just like, it's like, yeah, but you know, you gotta play the game too, and you gotta figure out how to deal with, you know, all the people around you, the Senate, or you know, however your government's made up, Parliament, you know, whatever, and you gotta be able to, you know, to rub shoulders with everybody and be able to work things out. Because there's a lot of other smaller people that run smaller branches of the government. They need things too, and they're not going to support you if you don't support them. It's just kind of the basic, you know, just the basic part of, you know, helping each other out. But at the same time, it's kind of shitty that you have to do it that way, and it's not like. Actually, no, I take that back. I think you should be supportive of smaller forms of government. You know, pay your dues with everybody, and then everybody at least trusts you. So then you can go ahead and work towards your bigger ideas of fixing bigger issues, you know, things like that. But, you know, again, you're just one person though. It's so, you know, even with our governments, you know, we have, you know, you've got a minimum of 4 years, you know, unless you really fuck up and you get thrown out quicker than that. But you only have that long to change things, and some presidents definitely have, whether it's been for better or worse. But yeah, so that's got to be real stressful. But anyway, fantastic episode. A lot of good information, good storytelling, good dialogue, real good dialogue, good music, that action there at the end, just to put the cherry on top of all that. Fantastic. This was a great episode. Probably last episode was really good too, but I would probably say this is one of the best episodes I've seen so far this season. So, but anyway, that's it for me. Thanks guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.